Hey guys, Lord Naren White here, the Holy Ghost, the one true God. Back with you with the next video in my series reading Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. Without further ado, returning to Oliver Twist as read by Lord Naren White. She rocked herself to and fro, caught her throat, and, uttering a gurgling sound, gasped for breath.
Nancy,
Cried Oliver.
what is it?
The girl beat her hands upon her knees and her feet upon the ground, and, suddenly stopping, drew her shawl close round her and shivered with cold. Oliver stirred the fire. Drawing her chair close to it, she sat there for a little time, without speaking, but at length she raised her head and looked round.
I don't know what comes over me sometimes,
Said she, affecting to busy herself in arranging her dress.
It's this damp, dirty room, I think. Now, Nolly, dear, are you ready? Am I to go with you?
Asked Oliver.
Yes, I have come from Bill, replied the girl. You are to go with me. What for?
Asked Oliver, recoiling.
What for?
Echoed the girl, raising her eyes and averting them again. The moment they encountered the boy's face.
Oh, for no harm. I don't believe it,
Said Oliver, who had watched her closely.
Have it your own way,
Rejoined the girl, affecting to laugh.
For no good, then.
Oliver could see that he had some power over the girl's better feelings, and for an instant thought of appealing to her compassion for his helpless state. But then the thought darted across his mind that it was barely 11 o'clock, and that many people were still in the streets, of whom surely some might be found to give credence to his tale. As the reflection occurred to him, he stepped forward and said, somewhat hastily, that he was ready. Neither his brief consideration nor its purport was lost on his companion. She eyed him narrowly while he spoke, and cast upon him a look of intelligence which sufficiently showed that she guessed what had been passing in his thoughts.
Hush,
Said the girl, stooping over him and pointing to the door as she looked cautiously round.
you can't help yourself. I've tried hard for you, but all to no purpose. You are hedged round and round. If ever you are to get loose from here, this is not the time.
Struck by the energy of her manner, Oliver looked up in her face with great surprise. She seemed to speak the truth. Her countenance was white and agitated, and she trembled with very earnestness.
I've saved you from being ill-used once, and I will again, and I do now, continued the girl aloud. For those who would have fetched you, if I had not, would have been far more rough than me. I have promised for your being quiet and silent. If you are not, you will only do harm to yourself and me too, and perhaps be my death. See here, I have borne all this for you already, as true as God sees me show it.
She pointed hastily to some livid bruises on her arms and her neck and arms, and continued with great rapidity.
Remember this, and don't let me suffer more for you just now. If I could help you, I would, but I have not the power. They don't mean to harm you. Whatever they make you do is no fault of yours. Hush! Every word from you is a blow from me. Give me your hand. Make haste, your hand.
She caught the hand which Oliver instinctively placed in hers, and, blowing out the light, drew him after her up the stairs. The door was opened quickly by someone shrouded in the darkness, and was as quickly closed when they had passed out. A hackney cabriolet was in waiting, with the same vehemence which she had exhibited in addressing Oliver. The girl pulled him in with her, and drew the curtains close. The driver wanted no directions, but lashed his horse into full speed, without the delay of an instant. The girl still held Oliver fast by the hand, and continued to pour into his ear the warnings and assurances she had already imparted. All was so quick and hurried that he had scarcely time to recollect where he was, or how he came there. When the carriage stopped at the house to which the Jew's steps had been directed on the previous evening. For one brief moment, Oliver cast a hurried glance along the empty street, and a cry for help hung upon his lips, but the girl's voice was in his ear, beseeching him in such tones of agony to remember her, that he had not the heart to utter it. While he hesitated, the opportunity was gone. He was already in the house, and the door was shut. "This way," said the girl, releasing her hold for the first time. "Bill?" "Hello," replied Sikes, appearing at the head of the stairs with a candle. "Oh, that's the time of day. Come on." This was a very strong expression of approbation, an uncommonly hearty welcome, from a person of Mr. Sikes' temperament. Nancy, appearing much gratified thereby, saluted him cordially. "Bullseye's gone home with Tom," observed Sikes, as he lighted them up. "He'd have been in the way." "That's right," rejoined Nancy. "So you've got the kid?" said Sikes, when they had all reached the room, closing the door as he spoke. "Yes, here he is," replied Nancy. "Did he come quiet?" inquired Sikes. "Like a lamb," rejoined Nancy. "I'm glad to hear it," said Sikes, looking grimly at Oliver. "For the sake of his young carcase, as would other ways have suffered for it. Come here, young'un. Let me read you a lecture, which is as well got over at once." Thus addressing his new pupil, Mr. Sikes pulled off Oliver's cap and threw it into a corner, and then, taking him by the shoulder, sat himself down by the table, and stood the boy in front of him. "Now first, do you know what this is?" inquired Sikes, taking up a pocket pistol which lay on the table. Oliver replied in the affirmative. "Well then, look here," continued Sikes. "This is powder. That 'ere is a bullet. And that is a little bit of a old hat for wadding." Oliver murmured his comprehension of the different bodies referred to, and Mr. Sikes proceeded to load the pistol with great nicety and deliberation. "Now it's loaded," said Mr. Sikes when he had finished. "Yes, I see it is, sir," replied Oliver. "Well," said the robber, grasping Oliver's wrist, and putting the barrel so close to his temple that they touched, at which moment the boy could not repress a start. "If you speak a word when you're out of doors with me, except when I speak to you, that loading will be in your head without notice. So, if you do make up your mind to speak without leave, say your prayers first." Having bestowed a scowl upon the object of this warning to increase its effect, Mr. Sikes continued. "We'll go ahead and stop there for this week. As usual, I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, as it greatly helps the channel. Light be with you all. Take care, and thanks again.